I've been pulled in to the undercurrent.
Do you support reinstating Glass Steagall to break up the too-big-to-fail banks?
I think it's good to, I support doing that. We might want to update that. We have to look at it. But yes, there should be more separation. Yeah.
Well, I think Glass Steagall obviously has been very controversial because the big banks said they had to have this to be competitive. I think what people believe is that unfortunately that has undermined the safety of people's savings and people's investments. And so I think it's going to be looked at in that context. I'm sure it'll be very controversial. We'll have a lot of debate about it.
We have not healed what caused our economic disaster. And one of the reasons why is a lot of these banking practices that have to be changed. So I think it was a mistake to get rid of Glass Steagall, and we need to come back as a country and say, what are we going to allow to do? By the way, other countries don't have this kind of Canada, for example, is a great model in terms of that they don't allow the kind of outrageous leveraging and risk that puts our whole economy in peril. So we have a lot of work to do, and I'm glad to hear the Republican Party coming around to it. But by the way, that's not what I'm hearing from the senators, the majority of the Senate. So we have a lot more work to do.
We should basically go back to a Glass Steagall and repeal the undoings that happened and caused a lot of our problems.
And so you support breaking up the too-big-to-fail banks?
Oh, I've always been that way. I've always felt very strong about that. You know, we're right now, our little community banks, and those of us who live in rural states, community banks are getting punished for the absolute outrageous behavior of the large banks, Wall Street banks, and it's really hurt mainstream America.
Too big to fail is too big to exist.
One of the goals we had when we passed Dodd-Frank was to break up the too big to fail. We failed. The six largest banks in the country at the time of the 2008 collapse are actually larger today. And if one of the big banks collapsed, I can guarantee you it would be so impactful that the government would have to step in.
We thought the Glass Steagall should never have been removed. The banks without governors, they were free to destroy, and they did just that. The banks need checks and balances. That's what they need, governors. That's why the Glass Steagall Act should be restored.
I think Glass Steagall is really important to come back to really put those kinds of regulatory controls on the banks. And I think that when we allowed these large banks to not just to become handlers of money and savings deposits and loaning money to people, to commercial interests, but to really become engage in financial transactions, that's really what caused it. They went far removed from the original purpose of what we wanted from a banking industry. And I think we have to come back to really where the concept of that banks just do banking. They do not do investments and other kinds of things, which really puts people at their own money at tremendous risk.
I am one of the very few members of Congress who voted against breaking up of Glass Steagall in 1999 as a member of Congress. So I never supported Glass Steagall being removed in the first place.
It's critical that we reinstate a 21st century Glass Steagall Act because there are people who would gamble with American workers' hard-earned money if we don't tell them they can't and make sure that they don't. I happen to be one of the proud members, formerly of the House of Representatives, to have voted against repealing Glass Steagall in the first place. One of the smartest votes I ever took, and it is long past due to restore it.
There's a big push right now for Glass Steagall. I don't know if the appetite is huge in Congress right now, but the conversation is brewing. Is there a movement afoot that can educate the American people about what Glass Steagall means? Financial services issues are so esoteric. And Glass Steagall, you say Glass Steagall, people don't know what that means.
So when you say too big to fail, people know what that means.
They know what it means. So
right?
How can we message it in a way that's digestible for the average American so that they can call their senator or a member of Congress and say enough is enough, we want reform?
Undercurrent, under the surface.